Politics bore me, let's not bring it up at all.
Good morning. Welcome. It's the Monday Morning Cup of Coffee. I'm your host, Tommy Womack. I'm a little unshaven, a little hygienically defunct, but spiritually basically all right. I got my cup of coffee. You got your cup of coffee? Are you ready? Let's have a sip together. April 24th. It's 3 Saturdays from now. House concert, Louisville, Kentucky at Rob Sing's house. If you're in the Louisville area, I hope you'll come out. It'll be socially distanced with a limited guest list. So I do hope you come out. Those of you who, especially if you're vaccinated. I get my second shot later this morning. So I'm excited about that. Getting the Pfizer shot, you have to have 2 of them. So they'll mark my little card and I'll carry it in my wallet and I'll show it at places where you need to show your card. I don't know where those places are, but I'll have the card, dadgummit. Let's see, in May, I forget the exact date in May that we're doing it, but Tommy Gunn is playing at Dee's. That's my Clash cover band with Brad Pemberton, Jonathan Bright, and Preach Rutherford. And one of the guys in the band, I forget who, had the bright idea. Let's do a Tommy Gunn show where we do one Clash song and one Tommy Womack song, then another Clash song, then another Tommy Womack song. And I kind of like that idea, so we're going to do that. And of course, we'll do my rock songs. We're not going to go from London Calling to Got Through the Night, Here Comes the Morning. We're not going to do that, We'll go from na-na-na-na-na-na to na-na-na-na-na-na. And then we'll do another song like na-na-na-na-na-na. And so forth and so on. Excuse me. That na-na-na was a burr in my throat. So I thought I'd show you what my ambitions are at the moment. With the pandemic, I had plenty of time to read books, and I've blown it all by watching YouTube every night before I go to sleep. I've seen the same Charles Manson interviews 20 times. And by the way, he says the same thing over and over again in every interview. And I know it's disturbing. Why am I spending all this time watching Charles Manson videos? I don't know. I don't know what it has to do with anything. But maybe it's because he's a fellow Kentuckian, and everybody in Kentucky, we were all proud to be the home state of Muhammad Ali and Charles Manson. Filled us with Kentucky pride. Anyway, I want to show you what I'm meant to be doing instead of watching YouTube all the time. Got this recently. I've read right about here, if you can see where the bookmark is. The light's a little bright. But The Art of War, Sun Tzu. I got this because Government Cheese was scheduled to go into the studio. Right here, this one I've had in my stack for years now. It's got dust bunnies all over it. Buck Owens by Eileen Sisk. I was at a book convention with her, and she gave me a copy of this. I gave her a Cheese Chronicles, and I've always wanted to read it because apparently Buck Owens was a real douchebag, and I like reading books about douchebags. Right here, Joe King gave me this one, C.S. Lewis, The Screw Tape Letters. I've read a little bit of C.S. Lewis, and I know he's the bee's knees for some people, but I don't get him. I don't get C.S. Lewis. All right, here's a great one here, and I'm right there. This light's too bright. I got to remember to turn it down next time. This is how far I've gotten in this Abe by David S. Reynolds, The Life, Abraham Lincoln and His Times. And it is about his times. You find out what the hit songs were, and they did have hit songs back then. One of the biggest hits when Abe Lincoln was a young man was a song called Old Dan Tucker, which also happens to be the first song on Springsteen's collection of folk songs called the Seeger Sessions. So it's kind of, neat to know that Springsteen has covered a song that was a hit in Abraham Lincoln's time. And it goes over what all the best sellers were so far as books go, and what it was like to be a human being in the 1830s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. And I've only read it to about where the bookmark is there because I got interested in another book, and I've read well over at least a dozen Abraham Lincoln biographies. I kind of know the plot, so I knew I could come back to this one at another time. And this is I just got this one recently. I got this because Government Cheese was going in the studio. Enough said. I haven't read it yet. Jerry Spence, the lawyer, he was always on Larry King when the O.J. Simpson trial's going on. He wears this fringe leather coat he's got. And I called into Larry King live one night. Jerry Spence, the author here, and Alan Dershowitz were on the show. And I got through. Nashville, Tennessee, go ahead. Thank you, Larry, for taking my call. I have a question each for both Mr. Dershowitz and Mr. Spence. Mr. Dershowitz, how will you react to history's judgment of you as a once progressive lawyer devolved into a whore for the highest bidder? And for Mr. Spence, I'd like to know if you have to buy an extra airplane seat for your ego, or does it deflate into the overhead compartment? I'll take my answer off the air. Thanks, Larry. They didn't answer my questions. They went on to somebody else. Okay, got this one recently. How to Stop Procrastinating. That right there. That's how much I've read of it so far. At the same time, I got this. Be More Productive. How to Stop Procrastinating. I haven't even looked at it. The Guns at Last Light. I'm really looking forward to getting into this one because I love stories about the European theater in World War II. And this is another one. I just got it started there. This light is too bright. I'm turning this light down a little bit. Hold on, everybody. I'll be right back with you. Oh, well, that's too much. Okay, is that better? Yeah. I'm going to do, oh, well, no, I'm not going to do this again. I'm going to keep going. Elvis Costello, Unfaithful Music and Disappearing Ink. I'm excited about reading this one. I started it a while back and see how far I got. I use little slips of paper as bookmarks. That's how I do it. See, the stack is getting higher here. Arthur Rimbaud, Complete Works. I've read a little bit of it. I don't have the intellect for poetry. I might do in my show a bit of doggerel poetry, but so far as reading it, guys like Rimbaud, I'm curious. I want to read it and have it hit me like it hits a lot of people, but doesn't always do it. But I've read a few of the poems. I mean, it's good. I can tell that the guy was very talented. It just doesn't really speak to me much. This right here, I just got this. Elaine Pagel's Beyond Belief. It's the story of the Gospel of Thomas, and I'm excited to look in on that. Almost finished this one, The Rape of Nanking by Iris Chang. And most people don't know about Nanking and what happened. It was a city, it's still a city in China, about 300,000 people. In 1937 when the Japanese came through, and they killed and or raped and killed afterwards upwards of 250,000 people. And they've never really been held accountable for it. It's been swept under the rug. Very few people know about the rape of Nanking. That's what they call it, the rape of Nanking. It's the forgotten Holocaust of World War II, and Japan has never they don't teach about it in their schools over there, and they've never admitted any culpability about it. Now, granted, we did vaporize 2 of their cities, and so that kind of evens the playing field a little bit. But still, if you put Hiroshima and Nagasaki together, it's not as many people died as died at the hands of the Japanese in Nanking. They used to have beheading contests. See how many, they would line up a bunch of Chinese men sitting down in a row and give a soldier a sword and click a stopwatch. How many heads can you chop off in 1 minute? They did that. They had contests. Rapes, murders, bodies in the streets, bodies that clogged up the Yangtze River because there were so many of them. Really sick stuff. I'm really enjoying it. Here, Hitler's Willing Executioners. And I started this one, see how far I've gotten in it? It's about how the ordinary Germans sort of aided and abetted the Holocaust. And I'm really fascinated with the topic. Again, Western theater, World War II. But the trouble with this was that this book originally got started as the author's master's thesis. And he won an award for Master's Thesis of the Year. And whoever gives that award, I forget the name of it. The Arthur C. Bainbridge III Master's Thesis of the Year. The reception will be at 6 p.m. at the Holiday Inn. I'm going nowhere with that. Anyway, the reason being a master's thesis has a whole lot to do with the readability of this book because it was written by an academic. And academics can't write their way out of a paper bag. This one I've been meaning to read ever since Dan Seymour gave it to me for Christmas, Zen Guitar. It's been on my list, and it's been on the shelf in my bedroom, waiting for me to pick it up. Dan said it had really good insights on how to play your instrument, and I could certainly use that, but I haven't read it yet. Mary Carr, The Liars Club. I got this after spending a weekend retreat in Wyoming with Mary Carr. She's a brilliant woman, a great lady, and I've heard the book is absolutely fantastic. So I'm looking forward to eventually reading it. From what I understand, it's the memoirs of growing up in a really fucked up family, which I can certainly get behind that. Right here, Steve Gorman's Hard to Handle, The Story of the Black Crows. Steve and I had coffee one morning and we traded copies of each of our new books. Him, this one, and me, I gave him a copy of Dust Bunnies. And I feel guilty because he read Dust Bunnies right away, but I haven't read this yet, and I'll tell you why. I have a hard time even thinking about the Black Crows because I get so jealous. Government Cheese and the Black Crows started at the same time, and I went to college with Steve. We had known each other for years. And of course, the Black Crows went nuclear and Government Cheese went quantum, I guess you'd say. It's childish to hold a grudge. And I don't hold a grudge against Steve. I hold them against Black Crows-ness, the essence of Black Crowism. And I do know this much, that one of the central theses of this book is that the Robinson brothers are dicks. And I met the Robinson brothers in 1989 at the White Dot in Atlanta. And yes, they're dicks. Okay, Grant by Ron Chernow. Great book. Look at the damn thing. This is how much I have left to read. Everything above that bookmark there. And right where I am in the book right now is where Lincoln gets assassinated. So we have that much to go. Just right there is 1865, and then it goes up to 1889 or something like that, whenever he died. So looky there. That's all the books that I've bought and started and need to finish one of these days. But YouTube is calling. You're watching this on YouTube right now, and I'll be surfing looking for more Charles Manson interviews, or Leslie Van Houten, or Susan Atkins, or Patricia Krenwinkel, Charles Tex Watson, all of them. And again, I don't understand why I do that now. I also surf a lot of Sammy the Bull Gravano. Has a video series on YouTube now telling all sorts of old mafia stories, and that's just manna from heaven to me. I love all those mob stories. That's about 2 feet of books right there. And by this time next week, when we gather for a cup of coffee again, I will have read all these books, every single page of all of them. I promise you, I absolutely promise you that I will have done that. So that's what's going up at the Womack house. I hope you're doing well. I hope you get your shots soon. My son is going to be eligible, I think, April 9th to get his shot. And then we'll be all vaccinated here in the house. And it's not going to be long till we are able to congregate. Had a nice little hang with Madison Thorne and Chris Tench Saturday afternoon over at Madison's house. And they're vaccinated, so they weren't wearing masks, and I'm halfway there, so I didn't wear a mask. April 12th, I'll be playing 2 songs at Dee's as part of Chris's birthday celebration. Chris is the sound man at Dee's and a hell of a singer, and I can't remember his last name. I want to say it's Sullivan, but I also don't want to say it's Sullivan. He's Chris. He's a nice guy. And it's all cover songs, so I'm going to go up there and do a couple of cover songs. And I'm thinking about, the commercial on television has me thinking about, why don't you build me up, buttercup baby, just to let me down and mess me around, and the worst of all, and, I'm thinking of doing that, but I'm also thinking of doing Dark Star for 25 minutes and just really driving everybody crazy. Anyway, that's the Monday morning cup of coffee for you this week. Go ahead and make it a great day. Tune in to WXNAFM.org at 9 a.m. Central Time for Tommy Womack's Happiness Hour, where I'll be playing all the plattas that matter from my own collection, and maybe giving readings. I'll give a small reading from each one of these books on the show later today. That's what I'll do. I won't play any music at all. I'll just read stuff. So there you go. Don't let the bastards get you down. God bless you. And by the way, as a friend on Facebook told me, the Easter bunny came out and saw his shadow, so we have 6 more weeks of Lent. There you go. God bless you. I'll see you next Monday.
Politics bore me, let's not bring it up at all. You're either preaching to the choir or talking to the wall. I'm gonna find me a meeting and I'm not gonna share. I'm gonna find me a meeting and I'm not gonna share.